All right.
And then
We
you
have
see,
one, 2, 3, 4,
Peter's on.
5, 6, 7,
This is, like I said,
8. All right. All right, pursuant to chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as March 28th, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately assess the proceedings to the best of our technical abilities, and despite our best efforts, due to lack of technical infrastructure, a transcript or other comprehensive recording of the proceedings will be available as soon as possible after the meeting. I bring this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. So tonight we're gonna go through facilities, capital items and a number of new fees. I think I'm going to mix up the agenda a little bit to get you out of here as soon as possible. No problem. So we're gonna start with town clerk fees. And then we'll jump back into Katie's facilities presentation, but Sue's not feeling great, so we're gonna try to get her out of here as soon as possible. No problem.
I'm passing around, and some of you received this by email already. The fees for not only the town clerk's department, but I'm also presenting on behalf of the animal control tonight. The reason we're doing that is because Eddie and I work closely to submit an article to revise the animal control bylaw. We kind of share the responsibility and enforcement of that because he issues fines, but we collect them because it's a bylaw violation. And he was not able to make it tonight, so I will present what we discussed for that. The first fee that the town clerk is seeking to or proposing to increase is that for filing a marriage intention. That is when the couple comes and fills out an application for a marriage license, we create the license from the paperwork, and that becomes their legally registered marriage license after the ceremony. It's been $30 as long as I can remember. That includes for the couple a certified copy. So it's a $10 increase, which is minimal. And basically is the cost of a certified copy of the marriage license. And I would like to thank Tara Layfield, Assistant Town Clerk, for those of you who don't know her, for calculating the additional revenue that we will realize from these changes.
Okay.
Moving on to dogs. The first two items, increasing the dog license fee, is actually a town meeting vote, but I wanted to present it as part of this package, so you see that we're kind of touching on everything related to the animals. We have put forward an article to increase the license fee for a fixed dog from $12 to $15 and an intact from $17 to $20. For those who don't know, it is Mass General law that an intact animal has to pay more than a fixed animal for a license. So that's not just an arbitrary thing that we're deciding to do. But again, those will be increased based on a town meeting vote and effective with the new fiscal year.
So can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Why do those have to go to a town meeting vote?
It's in Mass General law.
It is Mass General.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. The next two items are new for us. It is a dog license tag replacement fee and a transfer fee. So the license replacement, obviously, if someone loses their license, we issue a new one. It's a small fee to help offset the cost of the materials for the new tag, as well as us processing that into their record. A transfer fee, we transfer a dog license if somebody moves to town and has a currently licensed dog in their former community. We are allowed to transfer that license to Duxbury. And previously we have not charged to do that, but again, a nominal fee to cover the cost of the tag processing of their record. Walking permits. We are proposing to increase the fee for a walking permit resident from $10 to $15 and non-resident $25 to $30. These fees have been in place at this rate since 2019. The select board approved that. And the goal for charging these fees was to offset the cost of the mutt that are around in all of the walking areas in town. I believe there's 13 or 14 stations. Jim Savone in Atlanta Natural Resources is in charge of purchasing those, and the cost currently is $15,000 per year. And this past year we took in $14,120, so a small bump in that would help to offset that cost. And just as with the license replacement fee, people also lose their walking bags, they lose the collar on the dogs, so we would like to propose a $5 fee to replace that tag for them as well. Okay. So moving on to, do you have any questions about that? And then move on to the animal control section.
Any questions from the folks online?
No. And Susan, thanks for all of the information in advance. That was very, very helpful.
You're welcome. So I did distribute a copy of, it's a draft copy of the article that we are proposing for town meeting to revise section 7.1.10 of the bylaws. And there are a couple things going on with this. First, there was a new law passed in September called Always Law, which pertains to kennels, specifically commercial kennels that board people's animals. We have one in town currently. And because of that, and the regulations have become a lot more strict, the animal control officer and I kind of split the kennel requirements out of the dog license requirements, because that law is much more strict with regard to kennels. So we're adding a section pursuant to the kennel inspection requirements of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 137C. There will be fines for violations in that, and that will, in our bylaws, that will mirror what the Mass General Law states for the penalties on that. The next section, which is what really this in my handout speaks to, is the penalties for other violations of provisions of Duxbury's general bylaws in the animal control section. Currently, our bylaws state a dollar amount after the offenses. So the only way to change that would be a town meeting vote and general bylaw change. So what we are seeking to do is strike that from the general bylaw, strike the dollar amount, so that we can reword it so that the select board is able to set those fees from time to time as they see fit. So what I'm providing for you today for the fines for the violation of the animal control bylaw, the first offense would go from $25 to $50. And that mirrors what the Mass General Law states, that somebody will be charged not less than $50 for a violation. The second, third, and fourth offense, the animal control officer and I came up with those amounts to reflect the severity of situations that he's seen. He does give out a lot of warnings, but if someone's chronically violating the bylaws, then they need to be fined for that. So this section does require a town meeting vote to take the fees out of the bylaw. But if that happens in March, I'm hoping that these fines will have already been approved by you and the select board, so that we can right away, upon Attorney General approval, start charging these new amounts. That was I'm hoping I'm making sense to you with that, because it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, if you will, because our meeting has to approve it, but I want to make sure that it's in place for the point at which that happens, hopefully. The other two items that Mr. Ramos wanted to increase were the boarding fee, and that's per night per animal, from $20 to $40, and the redemption fee from $15 to $20. The boarding is still less expensive than if you boarded an animal with somebody if you were going away, but he and Susan Curtis, who works part-time with them, have to go to the shelter 2 times a day if they have animals down there. So they could be at home and coming in at 10 o'clock at night to feed and take the animals out. So that's just, you know, helping to offset his time on that. And redemption would be the fee to process when an owner comes to pick up their animal from the shelter.
I did talk to Eddie about this, so the boarding fee, there's been situations that people go on vacation. And somehow the dog's picked up and taken care of for their vacation period.
Weird how that happens.
So there isn't a lot of occurrences, but this is still less than if you board, so.
Yeah.
And it does involve them going to check and feed and shelter, so. And then with the redemption, he said it's probably 40 to 50 a year, but it's a $15 and it goes. Everyone has a 20, they don't have the exact change, so what do we do? And he said this would make it easier, it definitely doesn't cover our costs, because he'll go, instead of keeping them overnight, he'll meet the person or drop them at their house, so they're definitely getting their money's worth, so.
Any questions,
Can I ask a question?
please?
So if somebody in the situation, the egregious situation that you just
Do you have
described,
a dog?
I do not. If somebody leaves their dog at the animal control center, what do we call it?
Shelter.
The shelter, sorry, my bad. For multiple days, you just talked about fines and first offense, second offense, third offense. Would that constitute any type of a finable event if somebody left their
If somebody
animal there
abandoned a dog,
repetitively?
yeah, that would be, I mean, abandoning a dog, which has happened, is a federal offense. So I haven't heard that other people like let their dogs loose. you
But
know,
this is
to-
if you don't have a dog licensed, is.
The boarding, it could be, the boarding he would charge if, for example, he found a dog running on the street and took it in. And it took a number of days to find who the owner was. So if in the event that somebody went on vacation. You know, I can't speak to that particular instance, but there have been times where he has had a dog down there, for a few days, looking for someone, looking for the owner, because it didn't have a collar, didn't have a tag. And through Facebook, word of mouth, whatever, he may have found the owner. There are other situations where he has boarded animals long-term. And I think those are still kind of pending situations.
So if an animal's found with, because they're supposed to be licensed, right?
Yes.
So if there's an animal that's found that didn't have a license on he or she,
Yeah, they'll get a fine,
they would get a fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so these new fines that we're talking about would be invoked.
correct.
Okay, great.
Correct. I mean, we do have current fines on there, so, but we just have not been keeping pace with Mass General Law for the minimum to be charged.
Mm.
And I know there are cases where he's picked up dogs that are from other towns. So I don't believe he will issue fines for those dogs if they're not licensed, but he would fine them for like running free on the street. And that is a violation of our bylaw, so they would be fined somehow within the structure.
And I have one more question. So the fees that you have listed on the back page, there's not a projected revenue estimate included on those? Is there any chance that we could get one?
On the fines,
Well, I think you're looking, are you looking boarding and redemption?
Yeah. He
Well,
just
and an
said this-
estimate for fines. I mean, we must have some sort of history.
I could go through, he said about 20 per year on boarding and 40 to 50 on redemption.
we can go through our register and get you what has been paid for the last year.
Okay, with applying the increase to
Yep,
do an estimated increase in
yep.
revenue so that we can update our revenue forecast.
And the other thing that we have, and I think that was on the front page, second page, actually, the citations, which are halfway down. We have been very lenient about that, but this past year, we've started really cracking down on issuing citations to unlicensed licensure. And anyone who has not licensed their dogs in Tuesdays, we're sending out citations for them. I mean, it's a nice chunk of money, I know. So,
I move to recommend approval for the town clerk proposed fees.
Second,
Any further discussion from anyone, either in the room or online?
Nope,
no,
nope, not at all.
All those in favor? Aye.
I,
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 800. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Thank
you, Bill.
Yeah, feel better. All right, we are gonna jump back into Katie's presentation. All right, can everyone online see?
Yep.
yes.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Welcome.
So here's a brief history of the facilities department. It was developed in 2013 where they hired their first facilities director. And then in between 2013 to 2020, the budget remained flat during that period.
The operating budget.
Yep.
Yep.
In 2020, they decided to give a modest increase, $38,000. The first facility director departed, and the second was hired. Then between 2020 and 2025, federal state COVID relief funding supplemented the department's repair and maintenance work. These funds have since expired. In 2024, they hired their third facility director, that would be me. And the reason I kind of bring that up is you've had a lot of movement in your facility department and directors. Typically, a town director doesn't, they stay 20 years or, 15, 20 years.
Do you have information on how big the department has? I mean, in 13, it started with one person.
She's getting it.
Okay, all right. I just want to, yeah.
Yep.
If I jumped the shark, I apologize.
So who is the facilities department? I oversee 29 positions. Without an administrative assistant, these are all the 29 folks. Within these folks, it is also a theater manager, a theater event organizer, a crossing guard, and 2 door monitors for the school department. But of all these 29 people, 3 do all of the town's facilities. One gentleman does all the HVAC, the other gentleman does all of your repairs. Non-licensed repairs, and then there's me.
So the balance of custodians and.
So the custodians do not work for the town, they only work for the schools, the ones that I oversee.
Okay.
The functions of the facility department, this is a small list of what we do, but we basically cover the infrastructure, the entire building, anything that happens within that building, that's what we do. So on the school side, we do all the security, key cards, badges. On the town side, we do everything from state required compliance and regular repairs, construction, development.
Trigger happy, I'm sorry. I apologize.
So you could,
So even for the school badges, do they issue out their own badges?
Yep.
or- Or do you manage the badge?
So I manage the badges only for the school, not for the town employees.
Hmm.
What's covered under facilities, 63 buildings, that's 920,000 square feet of buildings. With an assessed value of $234 million. That's 909 HVAC units, 548 sinks, 803 toilets, one maintenance man, one HVAC tech. These are some of the small projects that we've done on your left-hand side. Those are pictures before and after of the door at the town hall. That the week that I started, there was a big hole in the corner of it. So I had the guys patch it up so we couldn't see the outside. And we replaced the door with opera funding because our own operating budget wouldn't cover that repair. On the right-hand side, we were able, the crematory had a bunch of birds chipping away at the exterior. They hadn't sealed the building since the building was put up. It's supposed to be sealed every 5 years. They hadn't power washed it or sealed it since it was built. So we replaced a bunch of the cedar boards on the outside, and that was done through capital. On the left, that was a tank from the 70s. That was the belly of the tank was rotting out. It was original, 1970. And we replaced it with a new tank that was funded through ARPA.
That's at the pool, right?
That's at the pool. And then on the right-hand side is your capital project that we did for painting the town hall. Just painting the front of the back of the old town hall was $49,800. We were unable to paint the remainder of the building because we didn't have the funds. On the left-hand side was another ARPA project. We were able to replace some carpeting in the finance director's office and conservation office. We had a dry valve system at the right building that needed replacement. And then on the right-hand side, far right, is we did some bird removal
Chandler.
at Chandler. We applied for a grant and got accepted for a grant to insulate the attic of the town hall. And so those are images. The top right corner is an image before, and then the rest of them are after. So they did a spray insulation. At one of the school fiscal advisory, the question was, do you do maintenance? So we have a whole maintenance program. This is a copy of one of the maintenance slips. So he'll get a slip that says you need to do the PMs at the Percy Walker Pool. This is the HVAC PM. It tells you the date that it's requesting to be completed by, and then all the equipment that he needs to maintain and what he needs to get that job done. There is a third section that he can include any cost that maybe we needed more material. He can put his labor hours and we could track it that way. Currently, because of our department, we are not good at doing the PMs because he is running around dealing with no heat, no AC. And when he does the no heat, no AC call, that's when he PMs the unit.
How long has the system been in place then?
That's been there since 2015.
School dudes, right?
School dude, but it's townwide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we just upgraded the software, so we're rolling out, it's the same software, it's just a newer version.
Do you track past due PMs?
Oh, yeah.
So roughly how many are, say, past due right now?
Many, over 100.
If you had an admin, would that admin be doing some of that work?
Yeah, so the administrative assistant that I'm asking for is not your typical sit at a desk all day and just push paperwork. They would have definitely a lot of paperwork to push, but they'd also be walking around and finding things and calling contractors. Because I can only call so many people a day. So
Right,
I
but
could
they
pass,
schedule.
they could schedule everything and help out.
Assistant road.
Yeah. So how I prioritize all my capital requests is life and safety comes first and code compliance. Building integrity, so anything that I can prevent structural damage. operational necessity, asset protection and longevity. So if we have a newer building like the DPW, we wanna invest in it and keep that building going. And how some of our properties may impact the community. And then the last one that I focus on is energy efficiency and sustainability. We have applied for a few grants this year at the town hall. We've applied for a lighting grant. Chandler School, we've applied for another. That is a insulation project, a lighting project at Chandler, and at Ashdod, insulation project.
Are those all green communities?
Those are all through green communities, yeah.
Can you do HVAC controls for the heating system here?
So this needs more than just controls. So these are my priorities for fiscal 27. First, we have a failed HVAC system at the fire department. That is both the AC and the heating system has completely failed. They are currently using electric units that we had an electrician install. We had to purchase 6 electric units. Those units, we reached out to a company to rent them rather than own them, and it was $27,000. So if we bought them, it was $5,000. So we bought them knowing that I'm gonna have a lot of HVAC problems in the next 5 to 6 years. And we're gonna end up using them in another location. The second one of my,
Space heaters, right?
yeah, basically space heaters, bigger, yeah. At the Chandler School, I believe it's 47 out of 62 exhaust fans had failed. When the school department presented to you, I was asked, well, how did they all fail? And so, I don't know, I'm only been here a year, but my guess is some of it was pushed off, we'll get to it. But I'm looking at everything as a fresh plate, and I have a little bit of history, but I don't know why they're all broken. I know that I found 47, and I know they need to be replaced and repaired, a combination of the two. So I don't think it's fair for me to explain why they're all broken, because I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess for a larger building that has a lot of exhaust fans, you could subcontract that out. So that the PMs are done at least,
Yeah, but you
Once
need
a
the
year.
budget, the operating budget to support that.
right, and the school should be budgeting that, or it goes back into your, that you can't put all this investment and not do any
I
PMs
agree.
on them. So that's my point.
Yep, I agree. And my town, so at the town, some of the town buildings, if you have rooftop equipment within 15 feet of the edge of the building, you have to have a safety barrier. And so we have 4 buildings that need the safety barriers.
Wait, what, say that again?
If you have HVAC equipment within 15 feet of an
Okay.
edge
Okay.
of the roof, you need a barrier. And we have 4 buildings that need barriers.
Is to prevent it from falling.
Falling, yeah, yep,
Or for
And-
the person falling off the roof when who's.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it the people or the?
yeah, it's
equipment?
people.
Unless you have fall protection for them to tie off.
Earthquakes
Right.
in town, I can't imagine the HVAC unit.
No, not the HVAC, it's the human.
It's, yeah, repairing.
We had a situation at the water department that we had to invest some money for barricades.
They didn't
That-
use the right fall protection as outlined on their PM. So they went up a ladder to get to that tall roof. And the ladder's over 6 feet. They should have been using fall protection.
So the roof there is a walkout roof from the ground, and it walks out and then goes up.
Yeah, it's the
On the-
HVAC unit was, the person hurt themselves on the top roof.
So we have, the water department has a little sub-building that's in desperate need of a roof. I can't tell you how old that roof is, but if you look at the pictures, that it's pretty bad.
I just want to point out, that's the well facility that in 2028 will need to be placed out of service. So I'm not against paying the 15,000, it's a small roof. But the 55 and the extended plan,
So the reason that I put the 55, do you know why I put the 55 on there?
just if you needed the sub roof.
Yeah, sunroof and
But
structures.
if it's leaking, we should do it minimum.
Yeah.
Because if we ever do add treatment, that whole thing gets revised. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that in 2 years' time that will, and if the building's leaking, I mean. Yeah. So
Okay.
do whatever's the minimum. If it's not leaking now, I would try to defer it because
Okay. At North Hill, we have two HVAC equipment, units up in the attic space. They're gas fired. We got the last control board that we could find to replace on one of the units. And the parts, we can't get the parts anymore.
So is it the same unit doing the heat and?
Yes,
And
and cooling.
I can testify that the air conditioning does not exist, except in the pro shop.
they've been asking for this for a couple of years and we pushed it off, I believe, right? It was.
I know it was there when I first started, it was on the list.
Yeah. And it just got down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And then the next is at Chandler School, the gymnasium has 3 units. Of those 3 units, only 1 is working. The reason that it's highlighted is because I'm looking for funding through another source, through Eversource, to see if they can give us any rebates or, you know, a better deal than buying it outright. But we did get an estimate of 465,000 for those all 3 units.
How
They're
old,
original to the building,
70s.
68.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna just go to the highlighted ones, cause everything else is pretty much, I think, straightforward. The trim placement at the Ashdod building. So it's gonna be 25,000, and that, the reason it's highlighted is we've reached out to the sheriff's department to see if they could help us replace the trim. They'll come out and all you have to do is supply the materials and lunch. So we got the cost of the materials, and the deputy chief is helping me with connecting with the sheriff's department. We're just waiting for them to come out and see if it's a project that they can handle. And I think that's really, those are all the biggies. Do you have any questions on this stuff?
Yeah. Anyone online have any questions?
Nope.
So, yeah, the bottom line is, when you're showing that $200,000 for a generator replacement, it's not in the current year. It's not even in the.
So it's
Oh, so that one is a mistake on my behalf. I should have highlighted that. We're trying to get so the school department, their food service department covers things that are in their kitchens. The revenue from the food, from the lunches supports kitchens. So we are trying to get approval from DESI to have them support the generator. If we're able
This
to,
is
Ashdod.
oh, this is Ashdod, sorry. Well, that's on my capital list too.
You 63 buildings to keep straight. Come on.
It's been a long day.
It's it's out in 2030.
Yeah, so I want you guys to see, because when I came, the capital list was really limited. Nobody gave you guys a clear vision of what was coming ahead. So my next slide, which is gonna be really hard to see, I'm just gonna point out some of the biggies that are coming up, but we need to address them. So I know you guys can't see this, I can't either, so I'm just gonna flip to my cheat sheet.
But Alex, you've downloaded all of this from ClearGov, so you have it in your worksheets.
Yeah.
So this is 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So in 28, we are expected to replace an Alden roof section C according to the roof replacement assessment that we got done for 900,000.
And that can't be done in less sections.
So the assessment was actually done the year prior. So I've already pushed all of the roof assessments out 1 year.
But that's the minimum you can do, like, is that can you do part of that?
So they
It's just a-
scan them and with the infrared. And check the moisture, and then this year I went up with the roofing company and we checked the roofs again, and we found. Some of the roofs that they had prioritized weren't as bad as other roofs, so
Okay.
things moved around a little bit. So yeah, I mean, we've looked, that's real. Then at the Percy Walker Pool in 2029, it's gonna need a new roof for $800,000. And the kind of the reason I kind of took a screenshot of this is we got a lot of expensive stuff in the next 5, this is just a cap of 5 years, and this isn't everything. And a lot of these I really could have been addressed way before. They're not all roofs that everybody has to put on their own house. Some of these are things that we could have, had we had the funds to do regular maintenance and regular repairs, wouldn't be on this list. And unfortunately, because my budget doesn't cover it, everything goes back to you guys. Because we wait until it's, oh, we gotta replace the whole thing.
So for this year's, or maybe next year's operating budget, would that include doing more proactive PMs?
Yeah, so I'm asking for an increase both in the operating budget and for help, people to do things. Because we're limited on both. We don't, if we got a whole bunch of money, we still need people to do the work.
Right.
So I am asking for an increase because the facilities department's been flat so long. We need to continue to increase the budget over the next couple of years, because we need to get to a spot that we're maintaining the buildings and not just doing emergency repairs.
Right, no, totally.
And have a
agree.
plan,
Yeah, that's why I was asking the past due PMs, you say every month we're 100 PMs behind and it just keeps on, so. These are the things that we've deferred, we don't do a spring cleanup of the roofs, so therefore.
Right.
So with respect to the operating budget, we did increase the property repairs and maintenance line. To the best of our ability, which was an increase of maybe 125,000 over what Katie currently has. But that budget, the anticipation is that annually we will try to increase that in the operating budget each year.
You mean more than 2.5%?
Exactly, because as we know, she's got very expensive projects and we've been having this deferred maintenance conversation for quite some time. There is also, I believe there's also additional funding in the override budget, so should that pass, there would be some additional funding made available for the facilities department to continue to tackle this list and avoid us having conversations about $900,000 replacements when we could have done much smaller investments for future repairs and maintenance. But the operating budget is limited, and so you guys oftentimes see things come before you where you would prefer to see them in the operating budget for routine maintenance, but there's just not the capacity there to do that.
Hey,
What?
can I ask a question?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, was that a yes?
absolutely.
Okay. When we're looking and talking about a replacement for the pool, what kind of discussion around fees is taking place? Like, is there any kind of forward planning on how we're recouping some expenses for the pool based on user fees?
I mean, I have an opinion, but, there's a competitive landscape there with the Kingsbury Club, so I mean, I think we have to be somewhat delicate with how we approach fees for that facility. Having said that, should we take a look at, are we still in line? Are we still a good deal relative to, the
Which-
Y in
so
Hanover
I-
or Kingsbury?
I can expand upon that a little bit. So every year when we put together our operating budgets, and we meet with the department heads and Rainey and I specifically meet with Steve Studley, we have this conversation about what the current fee structure is, not just for the pool, but for all of the recreational programs that are being offered. And Steve operates with a very fine balance when it comes to the pool, because when you look at the price that we're currently charging for memberships or daily passes, when we get to the point where we're charging as much as Kingsbury is charging, then we run a very significant risk of losing people, because Kingsbury offers far more amenities. We only offer a pool. We don't offer any of the other facilities that somebody would be able to take advantage of at a very similar price point. So Steve is looking at that every single year, and he is vigilant about making sure that he reviews that, makes increases where they are appropriate, but also tries to price it so that we are not losing customers and jeopardizing our revenue streams.
What is the difference between, what is the fee for the pool?
I'd have to go back.
We'd have to look at that. That's,
Have we ever looked at shuttering the pool? That ever been thought about?
it
I know-
has.
I know our sports teams use it. The rest of it is small.
So Steve talked about that at great length during the several presentations that we had with the select board. And discussed the implications of potentially shutting down the pool and what that would mean for the community. It would mean the loss of the aqueducts program, the loss of the access for our swim team, the loss of the 4th grade swimming lessons, loss of a number of different things. And so there is no plan right now to
No
close down the
active.
plan.
You know, what
Close down.
time we also talked about privatization years back, that, you know, we've
So
gone back. That
that
there's,
has all,
yeah, a lot of different conversations, you know, as a gift. It's highly utilized and valued in town. And it is difficult with competition, but there was conversations about, you know, what if we privatized it? So it might be
I
something.
can speak. So that the town has looked into that and has gone out to RFP a couple of times in
Right.
years past. There has been zero interest. And the reason is the pool is losing money.
Right.
And so there is no investor who's really gonna want to take on a loss leader. And so that's not really a viable option for us to consider. The town has certainly looked into it a couple times.
Right.
And
And
we
you'd still be
also-
saddled with the idea that the pool only is a pool. It doesn't have any other amenities, correct?
Right.
That is correct.
Yeah. So that's a limiting factor.
And what about an enterprise account? Didn't we used to have an enterprise account on the pool?
We did, but it never made money. It never supported itself, and we reverted back
And that doesn't do anything for the budget.
4 years ago. Like
Yeah.
that.
It doesn't do anything for the budget, that's for sure. I know, and at the end of the day, it all is the same, but it is, it's, again, this typical,
We cannot
problems.
convert
Yeah,
prize fund when it does not self-support.
yeah.
Okay.
Katie, I had a couple questions, or, I guess one is, I know you were sort of working through this, but do you have like a report card for all of our buildings? Are
Yes.
you like comfortable now that you've been in the mall, lived in the mall, and have like a really good sort of grade for each of the systems and envelope and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
so I was gonna add that as a slide and then I kept playing back and forth. So I put it in, took it out, put it in, took it out.
Okay,
But yeah, I do. And
Okay.
I have the ages of all the equipment and where we are with the equipment.
okay, all right. And I assume each piece of equipment now is in School Dudes so that we can,
Everything's tracked now.
track it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was one of my first hurdles.
Yeah.
That and then reading blueprints and report cards from
Yeah.
different engineers and architects.
I guess my next question relates to, I think Candy's question sort of dovetailing on, like, what does the school pay for in terms of like,
So the school pays for all of their maintenance,
Okay.
for any of their buildings. So the town doesn't pay for any of that.
but I mean, I guess
except for the items that you see in Article 6 and Article 7.
Okay, but
Right, but so say the PMs for the exhaust fans.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have been paying for that, but that's, you're saying the HVAC technician.
So he just works on the equipment, all of this, all the materials, and that's all paid by the school.
Right, but if he can't get to it, why not have a subcontractor come in and then pay for it?
So I also have a limited budget on that side that wouldn't support that. Like my budget the money that they give me right now to run that. The facilities section
Okay.
wouldn't support me hiring a contractor for everything. Now, I do hire contractors for, if it's a full replacement exhaust fan, yeah, I hire a contractor, because he doesn't have the
Right.
time to go and spend a whole day on the roof on one piece of equipment. So I would hire out, but then there comes a time that I have to go to the business director and say, I just did this 2 weeks ago, here's all the equipment that's broken, what do you wanna fix? And then they prioritize, I give them the pros and the cons of fixing it, and then they tell me, okay, fix those, and these we're gonna wait right now. And that's how we attack them.
Right. But because of the volume of equipment, you could have a subcontractor come in and do the PMs.
Mhm.
And it is a differential in paying a subcontractor, but then it's done.
Yeah. I agree.
So you don't do it quarterly, you do it semi-annually, and it's probably a wash, at least it gets done.
Yep. So we did actually hire a company last year with the opera funds to do maintenance on every single building. Old school and towns, but opera, funded that.
Mhm.
Sorry, Katie, who are you?
No, I guess so you have a separate budget
Mhm.
within the schools
Yeah.
for their maintenance and you manage that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have a breakdown of buildings by school, town, water?
Like what buildings are school, what buildings
Yeah,
are town?
like square, like, I think in your first slide, you went through like all the buildings and
Yeah.
cities and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in understanding what's the breakdown by school assets,
How much
town
equipment's on it?
assets,
Okay.
water. Because we are talking about sort of three different budgets
Mhm.
supporting that. I'm surprised to hear of a preventive maintenance not happening at a building, right? Because of the water enterprise fund makes money hand over fist.
Oh, no,
No, no.
no, but the roof replacement, it's not leaking now, it's a 40-year-old roof, so.
I get it. I'm just saying in general, like I would be surprised if that wasn't happening, and I'm surprised, and I think to your point, like this, like I would like to understand what the school has budgeted versus their square footage and equipment and what the town has.
I think one thing though, that I'm hearing is, even if there was lots of money in the water enterprise to do this, there's still no people to do
Subcontractors, that's what
Yeah, we
it.
could,
Well, yeah, you could do more of that.
you have an annual contract. You wouldn't hire staff to.
Yeah.
Staff.
So here's a small list of unfunded projects, which will probably be coming to you in the future as bigger projects. But I don't have the funds to fix these, and they're all pretty small, but I have lists like this that go on. Some of these are repairs to the wooden steps at Tarkiln, replace rotten trim at the Girl Scout house. I mean, it just kind of goes on and on. The maintenance of the switchgear, there's no tags. I don't think this, so this is what happened at Brockton Hospital. They never maintained their switchgear and they had a fire. I don't have any tags of when the last time the switchgear was maintenance,
What's a switchgear?
the main electrical.
Right,
Coming in.
so there's been no arc flash study, no.
Nope.
But is everything labeled?
Nope. Like this building, because they've broke up rooms and added on rooms. The labeling's really bad. So that's like a big one that we need to do. And then here's some cool images of what we have.
License to open the panels.
Yeah.
Because of the higher voltage. You need a license.
Is that top center a roof?
Yeah, that's one of the irrigation sheds. So I can go through them. The top left
That's the pine tree.
is at the Percy Walker Pool. So that's where the pumps and controls are for the pool. And there are the controls for all the pumps are mounted to those braces. The bottom left is another irrigation shed.
See the drain line? That's your problem. Don't have it.
The middle wooden area, that's the Percy Walker Pool that needs to be sanded and stained. The bottom piping, you can see that the pipes are leaking. That's one of the crawl spaces. Way over to the right is the chimney at in this building, Town Hall. And then to the left of that is air vents within the town hall throughout I mean, a lot of them look like that. We just replaced a whole bunch, but a bunch of them have corroded beyond just unscrewing the air vent and putting a new one on. I think I have one more. No, that's it.
Katie, is there a industry standard ratio of, I don't know if it's type of building to times square footage times how much you should budget for annual
So the mid-range is $2.25 a square foot,
annually?
you know,
And where
Where are we?
way below that. I haven't figured it out because I didn't want to be too insulting, but it's way below.
If you're going to have, well, it sounds like there'll be some items in the override budget, probably would be good to have something like that available.
Yeah.
Okay,
To help people understand why you sneaking in this into the override budget, or it's not sneaking it in.
right.
This is where we're at, this is where we should be.
Yeah, and come up with a better name for admin assistant, like work girl, cause that's a person's gonna be managing the work order system, so it's like a
Yeah.
maintenance
Maintenance
administrator, or
coordinator.
something, like, yeah,
Yeah, I like
It's
that.
not a-
Facilities coordinator.
Yeah, facilities coordinator. Guys, any questions for Katie online?
No, I just want to reemphasize the importance of the 5-year plan. I
Yeah.
think before Mary came, it was very, very loose, and now it's has structure, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
thank you, Katie, not only from just kind of giving us all that time in advance to create those notes, that we could share ahead of this meeting, but just a great presentation, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
second that. Thank you.
You can stay and listen to the fees.
Yeah,
Should I get up there?
Yeah,
Stay here?
wherever you're most comfortable.
Jonathan Mark, 47 Crescent Street. I'm a resident and I talked to Katie at length last week. I got very hot and bothered after I came to the town hall at 10 on Friday. I forgot it was closed to the public as a little drop off. And then I called a bunch of departments and they were all gone, I guess, for the day. But as I drove around town hall, I saw a bunch of windows open, as I heard someone saying before. So I called Katie and it's like, it's 17 degrees outside and we're just in a financial crisis and we got windows open. What is going on? This doesn't make sense. And then I drove by the school and I took pictures of almost 20 windows open, same day. And I called the school, I'm like, what is going on? And Katie was very nice, she got back to me. And I kind of expected a defensive response, but it wasn't at all. And, I pay taxes on 8 different properties here in town, so I'm highly impacted by these committees and what you vote for and taxes. So I'm pretty, passionate about it, and I don't waste money. I'm very, I got all those buildings, and just, we're talking about preventative maintenance. I'm all over it. I mean, and I do it all myself. I got 22 toilets, not 800. 30 sinks or whatever, and lots of HVAC units, but I look at the town buildings and I think for a town of this caliber, it's kind of disappointing. I see the preventative maintenance that could have been fixed, and coming from the real estate world, I've been through thousands of houses, and I look at how the average homeowner takes care of their house. And it's kind of similar to how the town has been taking care of things before, Katie, anyway. And a little repair is costing 10 times more later because we haven't been on it. And I asked a lot of kind of tough questions to Katie and she answered them all like exactly how I think, which it's like she's using her own money, not thinking about it like it's not her money. It's like she's thinking about it, it's her money. And I just wanted to say that I was very impressed talking to her, and I think she's got a lot of work ahead of her, but I don't know how it's possible to maintain that many buildings with two people. I don't know how that's even plausible. Or with the budget at all. And I'm not into spending a lot of more money at all, but there's a lot of things that could have been prevented that need to be taken care of sooner rather than later. So I just want to say that it seems like she's a great asset to the town. And
She is.
There's not one meeting that Katie goes to where we don't say, thank God you're here, you are amazing.
And this is recorded, so you.
I'll send it to my son.
I just want to say thanks for coming to the meeting and speaking and sharing that with all of us, because I've had the pleasure of working with Katie now for the last 2 cycles, and I come back to the committee and I say it, we are very, very lucky to have her, and it's true. It's as if it is her own money and it is her own buildings, and she does a fabulous job, but we appreciate that you spoke up at our meeting to share that too. So thank you.
So Katie.
Yeah.
In a doctor's family, the kids are all sick and they never get taken care of. In a plumber's family, the sinks are, how's your house?
The yard's not good.
So I think, Katie, I think we would love to understand just like a breakdown of a little more granular of like what do the school assets have, town, water? And I think to Vinnie's point, that $2.25, we want to understand how far off is that.
Sure. I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
What was it, 480,000 square feet?
900.
920,000
Yeah.
square feet. At
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah.
And 25 cents, that adds up.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks, Katie. All right.
Do you want to do, I hate to do this to this folks, but I know Corey, Sheila and Norm are here for the long haul. Jake, it makes her quick. Do you want to do? Jake's?
Yeah, that works for me. Yeah. Hey, what's up, pal?
I don't have a presentation, but I assume got all of them.
Yeah, I should be able to.
I think,
I have it, you don't. I think
Just the Excel.
I know you have a lot of fees to look at, and from what I understand from conversation, you have different methodologies of how your fees are being filed and presented, how everyone gets to everything. So obviously we do these fees every year, but one of the things from my perspective when I do this is I try to break it down based on linear footage for what we actually have, to give like a realistic breakdown. Same thing as tender tie-ups, shellfish licenses, things like that. But as I look at fees, I think it's important that the harbor master's operating budget is funded in part by these fees, and you all around this table know I'm also relying on
waterways fees for my capital requests, and my capital requests do not get any, they're not getting any cheaper every year. And in fact, they're gonna go up, and in anticipation of that town peer assessment, I'd like to, so, let me just say that, when I am looking at these fees, I need to identify those, infrastructure possible needs. I want to make sure I have a sustainable funding to be able to maintain operating costs as well as being able to take care of those long-term capital improvements.
Yep.
The other thing with my fees, a lot of people ask, what is Marshfield doing? What is Plymouth doing? How are we looking relative to other communities? While I do look at that to make sure that we're fair and we're not gonna lose people, we have kind of a very
Unique asset.
yeah, exactly. But my biggest thing is cost recovery. Those costs are direct costs like my department, and then there's the indirect costs like the people who sell the permits.
Yep.
Whether it be in Corey's department or municipal service that does the shellfish license. These are all departments that are not, you're not gonna see in my, they're an asterisk when I give you my presentation.
Yeah.
So, you can, I can go through everything line by line, or if there's specific questions you might have, we're looking at. I don't have, obviously didn't give you the complete difference, but I think it's
41,472.
41,000 from FY 25, which was last year, and then FY 26 projected, because if these go into effect, they would go into effect January 1st.
What's your annual operating budget? Ballpark.
If you would have
350.
$315 with direct salary, but not the benefits and.
Yeah.
Just over 300.
And then the admin.
yeah, I don't have those fees or those figures.
That's fine.
But
That close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, I thought I had, I'm sorry, thought I was displaying that up on the screen,
no.
sorry.
This would be, the additional roads would be roughly 13%.
Jake, do the surrounding towns have a wait list for borings just like we do?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's very, some do it differently. So some do a $50 fee and a $10 annual, or it funds all.
Spans the gamut, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about what they're able to do. We have the unique ability to, you right now can go and check online and see where you are on the wait list, and it's real time. So when somebody's issued a license or a permit, it's instantaneous. So there is no, back in the day, I used to be able to go down and now everything's spelled out. You know where you are, who's ahead of you, how many you were. So that's really big for transparency.
Over 1,400 people on the wait list.
Yeah, so we have wait lists for multiple areas. So there's Basin Flats, there's the deep water, there's Howlands, Two Rock, Clark's Island, there's tidal, there's dinghy spots as well. We have,
Okay.
if it's on the water, we can get you in a queue. Don't worry.
But like looking at the mooring tender wait list, that 1471 that's that many people looking to be able to have a dinghy to get up to the boat.
Dinghy or more, they're on the same
list.
they're not the same list, but okay. I wanted to.
Oh,
make sure
mooring slash tender, I couldn't.
Yeah,
see
so
that.
there's
I couldn't
both.
see that from this.
There, I just wanted to be completely transparent that we do have,
That's that.
I think it's like 70 people waiting on that. But
Yeah.
you can check right now.
I had a question about raising the fees for people on like deep water. Because I know I'm 10 years in right now. If you asked me to pay 100 a year, I'd have no problem paying 100 a year. And I know some of the names on there are, 5 kids deep. Would that speed it along if we drastically increase the fee to be on deep water?
You're thinking to turn them over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, but when I am asked to look at the fee structure, I'm not looking at it as a deterrent. I'm trying to make sure we're covering our costs. So I understand where you're coming from. And I think there's some things we can do, aside from a fee to cull that list. Like not being able to have kids on the list, but again, I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. That's also worth looking into. But I don't necessarily know that a punitive or, a deterrent for the wait list by fee is the precedent. And so
I just know people will pay it no matter what. So
totally supply and demand, definitely,
yeah.
but I think unfortunately we're not.
I guess a little bit along the same lines is how many of the current deep water moorings are what I would consider sort of permanent? So like they're attached to like DBMS or they're associated with I guess a corporate who's probably never going to give them up and never going to pass away.
Good question.
6.
6? Okay. It's way less than I thought.
Yeah, and we have regulations to stipulate that they can't have more than X amount.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked a question about the wait list. Jake, you're still using the same software that was approved, I don't know what, 5 years ago or something? So that I remember you coming forward asking for a software program for the wait list, is that correct?
Yeah.
And is there any fees associated to that program or any upgrades or anything you've had to do?
Yeah, I pay, I want to say it's in the neighborhood of $8,500 a year for that program. Anyway,
So then so the fee going up to $20, you're covering the cost again for the software, and what else would go towards the cost for the wait list?
so the administration, myself, Mike, the billings, all that goes into the administrative tasks of maintaining the wait list.
Collecting the fees.
Yeah,
The treasurer, yeah.
and then it goes over to the treasurer's office, so there's a domino effect. And then cash reconciliation and banking fees and
Yeah.
the list goes on.
Cost of the
Exactly.
permit itself,
Mhm.
postage.
I move to approve the fees proposed by the other master.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 800. Thanks, Jake.
Yes.
Thank you, Jake.
Eddie.
Be careful what you offer.
Thanks, Jake.
Good, thanks again.
Have a good night. All right. Where do we want to start? Transfer?
We can do transfer. Sheila and Norm, do you guys want to jump up at the table to help field questions? I'm gonna share my screen. I do have hard copies if you guys need a hard copy to follow along. And I did email out the slide deck for the transfer station late this afternoon, and once it was finished, and the beach one went out yesterday, so hopefully, we've had an opportunity to at least look at the beach one, which we'll get to next. But I do have, here with me this evening, Norm Smith, who oversees the transfer station. We have Sheila Scarzi, our DPW director, and Corey Leiden, our treasure collector. These three folks play a key role in both play a key role in the fees that we are talking about this evening as they touch both of their departments. So we're going to start with transfer station. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the transfer station. I'm going to go over with you the current fee structure. We're going to talk about the historical operating deficit that we have seen with respect to this operation. And then we'll take a little bit of a deeper dive into the individual revenue sources as well as expenses that we face in operating the transfer station. And then we will finish up with reviewing a proposed fee modification. What you'll notice is in both of these presentations that I sent out to you guys, I'm providing two different options with the hope that we can talk about both of them and sort of the pros and cons of each of those. And then allow you guys to sort of weigh in and give your recommendation, having two options to consider. So about the transfer station, and Norm, feel free to jump in. I've only been there twice. So, transfer station is a prized possession here in the town of Duxbury. We know that we accept household waste, bulky items, construction and debris, yard waste. We occasionally participate in the hazardous waste program. We have the prized mall over there. There's lots of different activities that take place at the transfer station. We do know with the passage of the FY26 budget that we did have to reduce the operating hours of the transfer station. And they have been reduced to 8:30 to 3:30 in order to save pressure on the operating budget. That appears to have been implemented, and there was an initial transition period, but since then folks have adapted very well to that change in operation, which has been great. The permits that we're going to talk about tonight, the effective period for those permits is April 1st through March 31st. So any fee modifications that we talk about tonight would be in effect for the next season, if you will, that would begin April 1st. With respect to the transfer station, there's approximately 73% of our households here in town who hold a sticker and presumably utilize the transfer station. That's approximately 4,400 households out of 6,000 homes here in the town. The town of Duxbury implemented a pay-as-you-throw program many, many years ago in order to reflect equity in the usage as opposed to just having a flat fee that regardless of the number of bags that somebody disposes of, everybody would pay a similar fee. The town of Duxbury undertook a process to implement pay-as-you-throw in order to make the cost of this service more equitable and reflect the level of usage across households, so that if there's a home that's only producing 1 bag of trash per week, they pay less than a home that produces, like mine, 6 or 7 bags per week. So the problem that we want to talk about this evening is that our revenues that we are generating from this operation are less than the costs of operating the transfer station. For 6 out of the past 8 years, the transfer station has been operating at a deficit, and we'll take a look at those numbers in just a moment. Since FY20, our tipping fees have increased 70%.
What's that? Oh, what tipping
Yep.
is.
So a tipping fee is the fee that we pay to the vendor to take our trash and dispose of it. It's the same, so there's a facility called,
Is that just the trash from the pit, or does that include recyclables?
that is the trash from the pit. And there are separate charges that we pay for
Our
the,
antiquated pit system that can't be replaced because it's 80 years old.
so there are separate fees that we pay for glass, cardboard, and other bulky items, and we have a variety of vendors with whom we do business for those. But the tipping fees is the single largest expense in this operating budget. And so since FY22, our revenues have decreased a little over 10%. So we've got fees going up and we've got revenues declining.
Is that because?
So I'm gonna go through a bunch of slides if we, if we can.
A lot of questions here, Mary.
I was gonna try and anticipate a bunch, so I've got a pretty hefty slide deck to go through. So what I'm showing you here is the current fee structure. So we offer a variety of different types of stickers that people can purchase. Highlighted in the far right in the shaded blue area is the current fee structure. But what you can see with respect to the transfer station stickers is that the last modification was done in 2020. So we are over 5 years away out from our last fee modification. So it's time that we have this conversation and look at our opportunity here to close the gap with that operating deficit. The fee structure on the first page was for the various permits and stickers. On the fee structure on the second page, on the left-hand side, you'll see the current fees that we charge for the pay-as-you-throw blue bags. Individual 13-gallon bag is $1.25, and an individual 33-gallon bag is $2 each. Over on the right-hand side are the fee structures for the bulky items and construction and debris. I will tell you from the outset that tonight, as part of our conversation, we are not proposing any modifications to any of the construction and debris and bulky items, that chart that's on the right. We're only going to focus on the permit structure as well as the pay-as-you-throw bag fees. So in terms of our operations, where does the money come from and how is it allocated for our operating expenses? 50% of our revenue comes from our fixed fee permit structure, which is great because we need to make sure we have a fixed revenue stream to cover our costs of keeping the doors, or the gates, if you will, open. 38% of our revenue comes from the sale of bags, and 12% comes from the C&D and bulky items that we just saw on the previous fee schedule. With respect to our budget, about a third of our budget is allocated to the cost of labor of operating that facility. 62% is allocated to waste removal, and about 10% is to all other operations and maintenance. So here's where the numbers, here's where we start to take a look at the numbers. This is a look at revenue sources as well as expenses. And if you look at the bottom line where we have a surplus or deficit noted, if you look from FY18 through FY25, that's the 8-year period that I mentioned a few moments ago. 6 out of those 8 years, we have operated at a deficit, and only 2 of those years we operated with a surplus. Interestingly enough, for FY22, that large surplus that we were able to see or realize in FY22 was the direct result of a bag fee increase that took place just prior to that fiscal year. So there was an initial spike in revenue due to not only usage, but also the fee increases. But during COVID, if you look at the bottom that I have highlighted in yellow, you'll also see a pretty significant spike in the cost of our waste removal. And we have seen extraordinary tipping fee increases during that time period. I do have a chart where we're going to take a look at the tipping fees in more detail in just a moment. So generally speaking,
I was just gonna note, so while the permits have decreased, the sale of bags is decreased more significantly. So
that could be that people are recycling more. Could be. And packaging could be changing. It could be the result of a number of different
that's
things.
significant.
Duxbury does a very good job of recycling stuff. Could be
Yep.
because people are not using the transfer station.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going back to fiscal year 22. People recycled then too.
When did we switch from single stream to what we have now?
Oh, 17, something like that.
Way back.
Yeah.
Been
Off this
it's
chart.
been a
Yeah.
while.
It's been
Yeah,
Been a while.
that,
yeah.
right.
So the other thing that I want to note is, just like we were talking about with our previous presenters, both Katie and Jake, when we look at a department's budget and its performance, we also need to take into consideration that not all costs for the operation of that department are reflected in that department's budget. So this does not reflect anything related to capital investment, both past, present, and future. It also does not include any of the shared costs, like employee benefits for the staff who work there. Does not include fuel usage for our trucks that are driving around town, bringing the trash to and from the incinerator. It also does not include the cost of town hall staff who administer the sticker programs, like the treasurer's office. So there are other
Software we use to.
and the insurance on the buildings that we reside in and you name it. Yeah. So these are just the direct costs, doesn't factor in indirects, which exactly. And the reason that I bring that up is because if we were to look at all of those, then that deficit would of course be much greater. However, in a municipal environment, you don't budget to that level. We don't budget to cost centers. We budget to operating departments.
Feeling
So-
about how big the much is and the much greater,
No,
10% of the total cost, but no guess.
no guess.
Well, I mean, benefits are. The benefits are usually what, 7.5% or something like that?
No, no, 25.
25?
Mhm.
So,
All right, so this is a graphical representation of those surpluses and deficits. So we can see the red line is our expenses. The green line is our revenues. And there was one opportunity there in the 21-22 stretch where our revenues did exceed our operating expenses. Whoops. This chart is also including a simple forecast looking out to 28, 29, and 30. And it's basing it on a declining revenue stream of about 2% per year. That was an average. I looked at a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year average, and sort of landed at 2%. And expenses increasing about 1.6% per year. Now, when I get to another slide, you may question that, and I'll explain it a little bit further. But basically what we're seeing is that we are seeing a continued gap between our ability to cover our costs through the revenues that we are receiving for the transfer station services. So with respect to revenues, it is important that we make sure that we have a fixed revenue stream, because we do have the cost of keeping the facility open and the staff that are operating it, maintaining our trucks that are managing that facility, the equipment that's used to pack down and move compost, all of the services that are happening over there. We need to make sure we have revenues available to cover those costs. And that is what you see at the top line for permit sales, which is the largest of our revenue streams. Then the next line, the lighter blue, is the sale of bags. So graphically, you can see that spike in FY22 that we talked about. And then at the bottom in green is the C&D. Now, there was a spike between 20 and 21 in the C&D revenue line, because those are per item or per event fees that are charged if somebody's bringing a stove or a refrigerator, or they're bringing a truckload of materials or mattresses. And that during that time period, that's when everybody was at home. And because those were the COVID years between FY 2021 and bleeding a little bit into 22, people were working from home, they were producing more trash, they were doing more home improvement projects, they were bringing all kinds of debris and everything to the transfer station. And that was commonplace across the Commonwealth. So it's not unexpected here.
Can I ask a
But
question about C&D for a minute? And I don't know if maybe Norm might have this answer, but last year, was there a law change on how you can dispose of mattresses in box springs?
Yes, yeah, you couldn't, you had to take it to a place that would accept it for recycling. And they'll take it to a manufacturing facility where they dismantle them and use those certain pieces for recycling.
So did you see any kind of an uptick from residents bringing you the box springs and mattresses?
Oh, yeah, we used to go through a lot of mattresses.
Yeah.
A lot of them on the side of the road too.
Yeah, I know.
They
Thank
wanna pay the
all right. Okay, so if we start to drill in a little bit into permits, so these are the various types of permits and the volume from FY24 to FY25. So across all of our various permit types in FY twenty-four, we sold 5,280 of them, generating $383,000 in revenue. FY twenty-five, there was an increase of 387 permits across various categories, and bringing in a total revenue of $404,895. Over to the right, you can see the percent change, and you can see that we had a very big uptick in replacement stickers, which was unusual. It had never been that high before, and we're seeing a pretty significant uptick. We're also seeing greater growth in the volume of senior transfer station as opposed to regular, and that could be that folks.
Democrat.
Yep, it's, yeah, demographic related. Okay, I won't dive into that then. Alrighty, so that's a look at our permit revenue. Pay as you throw bags. This is our bag revenue, and again, that one spike I keep referring to, but you can see that our bag revenue, although it is a little higher than FY 19, FY 20 levels, it's sort of leveling off to pre-COVID eras where we were seeing the bag sales at.
Mary, are you gonna
Yep.
touch on bag costs?
Yep. Oh, the individual of the product? No.
Do we know how much?
What, for each bag?
How much they, so we have like a $2 and $1.25 per
Yep.
bag is what they call it,
Right.
what the revenue is. How much do they cost?
We buy them in bulk, so I'd have to
Yeah.
look, I'd have to do the math on a case and the number of units in a case.
Yeah, I just,
All of a sudden,
Okay.
they were really like blue and they kept on breaking. I think that got fixed.
Yeah, the bottoms are coming out of it.
Okay. So I did say earlier that we're not proposing any modifications at this time to C&D and bulky items, but this is just a closer look at sort of the volatility and where we saw and why we saw that pretty significant uptick.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. You want to encourage people to bring it to the right place.
Right.
Yep. Okay, and then with respect to our expenses, we talked a moment ago about a third of it, our expenses go into labor, 62% go for waste removal, and about 10% go for operations and maintenance. And you can see over an 8-year period from FY 18 to FY 25, the growth in our overall expenses for the cost of the transfer station. Tipping fees. So this is what we started with first. The tipping fee is again the fee that we pay to have our trash taken out of the town of Duxbury, brought elsewhere and incinerated or disposed of in some fashion. And we have a multi-year contract with a vendor in order to set those tipping fees. That contract currently, actually, did we sign it yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so we met with the vendor recently. Our current contract is set to expire in December of this year. And the contract that we currently have in place has an escalator of a 2.5% annual increase in the cost of tipping fees. However, if you look at the chart to the left, you'll see in FY 2020 through 21 and 22, we had some significant price increases.
Wow.
And we are not the only community. Every community in the Commonwealth faced the same thing. The cost of disposing the trash grew exponentially during that time period. So from 2020 to 2026, we saw an over 70% increase in the cost of our tipping fee. And now we've leveled off to an annual 2.5% increase with the current contract.
Still significant increase. So it hasn't leveled off and they're not back in.
No,
When did the
No.
current contract start?
10-year contract.
Yeah. Where are we in it?
It's expiring.
It's
in
a-
December.
Yeah.
And who's the contract with?
They've changed their name. What is it called now?
Harvey.
But then it's,
But-
It was New Bedford Waste, it's Harvey,
CMS.
yeah,
I-
well, no, it's not CMAS.
it's not CMAS.
We take our trash to CMAS, but we don't have a contract with CMAS, we have a contract with Harvey. And believe it or not, Harvey is offering us a better deal than if we contracted with CMAS directly.
It's a very strange thing, but
Maybe
it's
it's
cheaper,
supply.
so we're going with it.
Maybe it gets
Is,
better
is there
quality.
much competition? Like if you go to bid, like how many people will submit a bid to you?
It's very limited because, yet they're hauling in a geographical region to the closest incinerator. So it's very limited and it's regional.
So
And
yeah,
do we
all
do
the
any- I'm
towns
sorry.
go there. All the area towns go to CMAS. Most of them, most of the area towns, their contracts are expiring in December like ours. Most of them are contracted directly with CMAS. There's only a few of us who are with Harvey.
Is
But
Covanta the same as CMAS?
Who?
Covanta,
Covanta in
No.
in Chester?
No,
Okay.
Covant is a third party,
Incinerator?
just a waste disposal, big company.
Yeah, they do all the incineration of the medications that we drop off at the police stations, that type of thing. I've been there before. That I just didn't know if they were connected at all with CMAS.
Okay, so on the next page, we're looking at the other expenses. And so Vinny, you asked questions about the cost of disposal for other items, not just solid waste. These are the vendors that we're currently doing business with. So for example, AE Wood right in the middle is the vendor who takes our glass, so folks who recycle glass. And thankfully, we have seen a flat cost from them, but if you
Yeah.
look right below them, Capital Paper and Recycling, the cost of removing our paper and plastics cost has increased 46% over this 5-year window. So these are some of the other items and lines of business that we have that run through the transfer station. So before we get into actual fee proposals, I know that this committee has raised the question about curbside collection before. And so I wanted to just talk briefly about it, and we are not proposing curbside collection this evening. But what I did is the town manager's office, periodically will go out and survey some of the vendors who do provide curbside collection and what their current monthly charges are, and any other annual service fees. So this chart was updated in June of last year. And so these are, and as we know, the price of everything is not coming down. So these prices are, a little bit a little bit less than, no, a little bit more than a year old, I should say. And what you'll see is the one in the middle, MAR removal and disposal. If you look at their annual cost, for example, of $540, that is more, it's a higher price point than what we are proposing with our fee modifications this evening. So we're proposing that the transfer station is still a cost-effective method of trash removal, but people are free to choose whether they want to use the transfer station or whether they want to contract directly with a private hauler on their own.
But what this doesn't take into account is having to fix the floor of the blue bag bin, buying $200,000 truck, all trash. Right now, we have a lot of capital costs going, right now, we're going down the road that aren't reflected there
That's correct.
significantly,
That is correct.
that we would get rid of if we get rid of entirely if we had curbside.
So
Maybe. Because they might take over your transfer station. And have a central place to compact everything and then haul it out.
So
You're
remember,
using the curbside solely as sort of a marker in terms of best practices of some sort, right?
correct. Correct. We're not contemplating proposing curbside this evening. But there are a number of considerations with respect to curbside. And whether the town wishes to undertake it or not, and those are not decisions that we're gonna make here in this room this evening, but that we do want to put on the table. Flat fee versus a variable fee based on usage, curbside would eliminate that sort of equity, if you will. The town needs to consider the impact on our roadways with traffic congestion and wear and tear. We also want to be mindful that if we were to reduce the transfer station and reduce staffing, then we have fewer resources available for snow removal. which is a very big issue here in town. Aesthetics, having trash and recycle bins all over the community and having, you know, basically trash trucks on our roads every single day as they operate, different routes and remove trash. We would also incur increased costs for billing and collection. So we would have to purchase software. We would have to handle all of the billing and collection, and more than likely, we'd be looking at increasing staff in order to take on that kind of an operation and the calls and questions and issues that go along with it. And then given the price point and given that not all curbside collectors take all items, some communities have experienced illegal dumping and less recycling as a result. So just wanted to put those items on the table that, you know, we are aware of it, but there is not an initiative right now for us to undertake and study a curbside collection option at this time.
Pembroke has a pickup, house pickup, but they still have that transfer station there, because there's certain things like Mary said that they won't take, so they actually open up for the weekends. and
Right, and
all the
parking
home brings
the
stuff there,
the town, the town.
all the bulky items, yeah.
Right, right.
And that's pretty typical. You still need to have for leaf and
Right,
yard debris.
Mhm.
So
and plus we also do compost at the transfer, which is, you know, a huge part of that business over there.
Yeah.
That we have to keep up with every year, because the amount of leaves that come in here.
Mhm. We have lots
I'm
of
just
trees.
glad that it's being looked at as a relative approach, keep in mind.
All right,
Certainly
did
haven't done
we
any study
find,
myself, but I see with some of the capital costs that we may incur, keep the current system in place, significant.
But some of those trucks are also trucks that we
understand.
use in the snow removal
Yeah.
operation.
Right.
the, is King, well, I thought one of the towns that we looked at had an agreement with a waste management company, but required the individuals and the residents to interact with that company.
Yes.
So there was no administrative cost per se by the
Yeah.
town as a result of it.
It depends on the
That's an
municipal
option.
contract. That's definitely an option.
Okay,
yeah, I think Marshfield bills directly. It's like the water bill. So
Yeah.
it's same department doesn't.
And some municipal contracts make the customers buy the bins.
great.
There's
So your-
lots of
your
different
price
options.
point is around
Lots of different
$500
flavors.
per resident. Residents.
As the, well, as the lowest cost provider here. But like, I don't know if someone like Mar could handle the town
Complete.
completely. So I mean, like, you should be looking at waste management.
Waste management does Marshfield.
I mean, that's what
That's the difference
That's-
in the
that's-
prices that you're looking at.
that's the reality of a
Yeah,
municipal contract.
This is the cost of an individual to contract out.
Yeah,
But you would award a townwide contract for much less than that. Well, Marshfield charges their residents $5.25,
Okay,
but
I'm
that's-
gonna, we're gonna
So
keep on going because
Yeah.
we're not doing
as long
curbside
as
this
we're
evening.
covering all the costs. And-
It's not the topic for discussion.
Exactly. All right. So just a reminder of the
Well,
issue
it was
that,
added in here.
because I knew I was gonna be asked. So just a reminder of the issue we're trying to solve here, which is for the underlying deficit of the operation. So there are a couple of proposed fee options, and if the slide is too difficult for you to read, I did print out a single sheet for you guys to be able to analyze. So the top section is estimated revenues and two different options with adjustments to the permits themselves. And then the second chart below that is an adjustment to the pay-as-you-throw bag fees. So this chart here is showing the proposed pricing increases, and then I will show you the impact to a household in just a moment. So the current fees are on the left-hand side. If we start with the first one, transfer station, the current fee is $105 for a regular resident transfer station sticker. I'm using an average quantity. So we saw that there was a difference between FY24 and FY25 and a previous slide in terms of the volume that we sold. I'm using an average quantity between those 2 years because we would anticipate that there would be some sort of price elasticity among consumers, that we may not be selling as many in the future as we had in FY 25. So that's where that comes from. So if we use average quantity times the current fee, we would be generating for regular residential transfer station stickers about $279,000. With a 20% increase on the transfer station fee, that would raise it to $125, and that would generate an incremental amount of about $52,000. The option 2, for follow along on that same row, if we increase the fee by approximately 30%, that would result in a $135 fee, and that would generate an overall incremental increase in revenue of $78,000. So the target between these two options, option number 1, the target was to increase the fee by 20%. I included that actual column in the middle because in order to just change these two whole numbers, that we get differing percentages. So that's what you're seeing there. So some are going up by a little bit more than 20 and some are going up a little under 20. The one that we did propose in the middle for the replacement is to double that fee from $10 to $20. And you're going to see that consistently here in the transfer station proposal as well as the beach proposal. We're seeing for some reason an extraordinary uptick in replacements of both beach stickers and transfer station stickers. And so that's the proposal. Then the other thing is, and Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, on the summer rentals. So we don't track that revenue separately from the others, which is why I don't have quantities and dollar values. But we currently charge right now $25 a month for a summer rental to utilize.
Deal.
So I'm proposing to triple that, up to $75 a month. We may even want to consider something else, but I wanted to draw your attention to that. And even though I don't have empirical data behind it, I do know it's very limited. You and I talked about it.
It is, yes.
We would think that it would be much higher. It's not. It's very limited, which would typically mean that the homeowner is probably whoever's renting out a property, and we know we're not supposed to have rental properties here. So the homeowner may have a sticker and they may just dispose of the trash on there.
So is that why they have a replacement sticker they had too?
We don't know.
Well,
Well, no,
car.
part of the
A lot of new
replacement process,
cars.
yeah.
A lot of new cars this year.
And part of your requirement is that they have to bring in the old sticker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so say I was a summer resident, I'd just get the full year senior. Wouldn't, and that's what they're probably mostly all.
Maybe. Yeah.
How many do you sell?
Summers or
Summer.
The summer, that's what I just said. We don't track that separately.
Oh,
It's on our fee schedule, but when we look at the quantity and the volumes, it's encapsulated in the other categories.
oh, okay.
Now, as a senior myself, how do we derive the discount level for seniors versus non-seniors? Any
So
idea?
a number of things that I've seen, started at 50%.
Yeah,
when-
it's less than that.
In some cases, there are lots of different things that we offer senior discounts for. There's not a standard formula.
I mean, just here, discount more than 50%.
Mhm.
Why? How are we affected?
That's been embedded into the structure. So
So.
I'm raising the increase consistently across all of the various stickers.
It did encourage me
Okay.
when I get eligible, I put a second car sticker just for those rare occasions when my wife's not available. I really want to get rid of something.
So that's Audi.
Maybe that's netted out, yeah.
All right, and then right below that is the cost of the bag. So we're currently at $1.25 for 13-gallon bag and $2 for a 33-gallon bag. Again, using the general 20% versus 30% incremental change, you'll see the resulting price per bag. And then because we don't track the individual volumes of those bags, we track the revenue that we're receiving. So I've used it a blended rate to calculate the incremental cost of what we would generate from additional sale of bag revenues. And then the bottom line is, generally speaking, if we were to implement option one, we would be realizing an increase in an incremental revenue of about 136,000. And if we implemented option two, it would be about 218,000, which would ideally close the gap of the direct costs related to the transfer station.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to point out, we're not closing the full gap, we're only closing the direct operating budget.
Correct.
It doesn't
Just like we do
include
in every single
the-
department.
Well, in Beach, I thought you did the processing of the stickers, and this
Yeah, but-
doesn't include the overhead, the capital investment, so I'm just saying we should at least do option two, because if that's just making
Mhm.
the direct operating budget, but there's a lot of other costs associated,
Mhm.
and we should do this annually.
I agree. All right, you want me to skip my last two slides? Was that a motion?
Oh, sorry.
All right. So what I want to,
I mean, I'm just saying it's not breaking us even, it's.
I completely agree. So I will tell you, I will not bury the lead. For transfer station, my recommendation is option two, and for beach, my recommendation is going to be option one. So we'll see what that looks like.
Okay.
All right, so estimated household impact, just for folks to have a general idea. If you look on the left-hand side, these are our current fee structures. So for a household who produces one bag of trash per week, they are essentially paying $65 for the cost of bags annually, plus a sticker of $105 for a total cost of $170. That would then increase using the 20% option. That would increase to $203 annually, which is a $33 annual increase, or little somewhere around $3 a month, give or take. Down below, if we were to use the 30% increase option, again, somebody producing one bag of trash per week pays about $170 a year. With the 30% increase, their annual cost would go up to $218 for an increase of $48 annually, or $4 monthly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Can't be.
No, I can say, I would have put it, this chart, I would have done one bag, two bag, three bag.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, working there, you'd see people come in 2-3 times a day with stuff. I don't get that, but.
In my house, I produce about 7 or 8 bags a week. So that was my, that was my profile.
So would we consider like increasing the 33 gallon on option two to $3, like make it an even?
So so you guys can make whatever recommendation you want. I will caution you, or suggest, offer to you, based on my conversations with Norm, we see more 33-gallon bags in the transfer station than we do 13-gallon bags.
Right.
To buy the 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the 13.
Only-
Now I do.
Only by mistake.
The one
Yeah, but-
kitchen. One kitchen.
And I'm like, what am I gonna do with this?
I can only do that in, they're non-holiday, but.
Yeah.
So I have a few.
Now, is it inside information if I go out and buy bags now?
No.
So
There'll be some of that.
I guess,
Stockpile.
I get it, like you did 30% increase, and I think it's long overdue if we promise to revisit fees next year. And do another increase, because.
Can I make a
That should
recommendation?
be our commitment. We should not be going 5 years, because the problem is it doesn't smooth it out for the town. It also doesn't smooth it out for the resident.
Right.
But I don't see, well, I guess it's only FY 26, it does cover it. The other ones.
So that I will tell you that the FY 20, 7, 8, the outer years, the estimated deficit, as I said before, is a little bit more aggressive than in the previous years. And the reason is it's based on the budget. It's not based on actuals. So from 25 back, it's based on actual expenses. In the budget, there's capacity in the budget for engineering and landfill testing and a couple of other things that may not happen every single year. And because the forecast is just based empirically on the budget, it's a little higher than I expect it to truly be.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I assume we have a contract with someone to produce the bags. Do we know when that is up, or when can it be renegotiated?
Well, is it the manufacturing of the bag or the retail? value?
The manufacturer, I assume we have like some contract for someone to make all those bags.
We get them from Zero Waste. Is there a concern with them?
My only comment was we should switch the colors every so often.
Just to keep them on their toes, yeah.
Because there is a hospital nearby that uses very similar colored blue bags, and I see them in the pit.
But don't they have the logo?
They sure do,
And they're in the pit.
totally.
And that's why, so looking at. Like, we've gone down by 4% on the permits, but almost 20% on the number of bags, so something's up. Okay, but then I can't use my old blue bags if I buy a lot now?
So we'd have to discuss that a little bit more.
It's just a suggestion of
Yep,
like,
yep,
it might be an
I-
interesting thing to
Understood, so I think
phase in
we'll
some
do is we'll
vintage bags.
deal for that at the transfer station, but we have to. Now that's insider trading, Frank. But we have to remember that, our vendors who sell these bags have pre-purchased an
Oh,
inventory, so
Absolutely,
wind
phase them in
yeah.
and, yeah,
but
just to.
we'll.
But that
Keep
means,
an eye out.
that
Yeah.
means somebody has to stand there and watch and say,
Mm.
hey.
Yeah, with 3 guys, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
discover it after. the
But I mean,
fact.
if we could phase in at some point and then all of a sudden it's orange bags and like at least.
Or
Do we
could
still
you
have the
put a
dangerous
camera-
item sensors in that pit?
No, that's at the gate,
Yeah.
before you even pull in
It's at
there,
the gate.
there's a, set of poles there that will pick up anything that goes through that's, radioactive stuff, yeah.
Well, you should set up a fake camera saying we are monitoring.
We
I mean,
used, people thought there was a camera there.
What is-
Yeah.
What is the?
Okay,
fee
So-
for putting?
so can we make a recommendation?
Yeah,
It doesn't belong there.
I moved to,
Tank?
No, the pit. the main
Oh,
pit.
yeah.
Somebody puts an orange bag in there, do we find them?
I moved to approve the transfer station fee increases for 30%.
I actually have a question first. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
So the projected revenue, is that based on the assumption that stickers will be the same?
I think it was a 2-year average.
What are you looking at?
So the 20 to 30% increase is like the revenue that's expected. Is that under the assumption that the sticker sales will stay the same roughly?
I'm using the average of 24 and 25, so it anticipates a slight decline.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's disappointing. I mean, we've reduced the hours at the transfer station by 1 hour a day. That's a 12.5% decrease in the operating hours, yet we're about to, likely approve a significant increase on our residents. Just my opinion.
Duly noted.
Yep.
All right, so there's a motion?
There is a motion, a second. Second, Frank.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Yeah, I mean, I guess to that point, Mary, your projections, even with the reduced hours, we're still showing a deficit in the out years.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of capital coming down. Like,
Yeah, but that's not even.
I understand, I'm like, but. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain? All right, motion carries 7-10.
Do you guys have a new member?
Yeah, Tyler.
Oh.
Me,
Tyler.
have some sick kids at home, so I had to unfortunately miss a meeting tonight.
No worries.
Welcome aboard.
All been there.
Alrighty. Thank you, guys. We're gonna shift gears.
Each.
Beach to the beach.
Thank you guys, yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah.
Although, Sheila, I'm gonna ask you to stay for that, because I don't know if they're gonna have questions about. All right, so,
Well, the guys at the transfer station did a great job.
They do.
Yeah.
They really do.
These,
I was gonna make one point. I saw a thing inside the main building there that Chris Delisle that used to work there, he had the record for 220,000 steps in a day.
what?
I believe it.
220, what?
220,000 or something like that.
Is that?
That's a lot.
You should have
Must be
seen him running around.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it was 22, might have been 22,000, but I was just
Yeah,
laughing
maybe
because he had,
that's-
Whew.
somebody threw
That's a
something
lot.
in the trash with a
Yeah,
wheel.
like 200,000 steps is about 100 miles for most people.
Hi.
Thank you.
Was that big?
But 20,000 is.
20,000 is, yes, that's a lot of steps for a single shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Thank
God
you.
bless them. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. All right, so same thing with beach fees. There's a printed slide deck and then a one pager in case you need to see it in a larger fashion when we get to that point. All right, so same thing. We're going to talk about the current fees, volume sold, proposed fee structure, revenues, expenses, deficit, and projected impact of a fee increase. So our current beach sticker fees are as follows, between resident, non-resident, senior, oversand, vehicle, stickers, as well as parking lot fees. And, this chart here illustrates way over to the right, highlighted in light green, the current fee structure and the previous year's fee structures. You'll notice that the last fee modification was also in 2020. But at that time, there was a decrease in the fee to address the
The
offset.
beach was closed.
Exactly, to address the offset to the access. So prior to that, the first real, if you will, what I'm gonna call cyclical modification to the beach sticker fees was back in 2018. Okay. Same thing here, stickers are valid for April 1st through March 31st. And then we have seen and had conversations about an uptick in the off-season stickers, and those are valid from October 1st through March 31st. So let's talk about beach sticker fees and quantities sold. Again, looking at a 2-year historical perspective, FY24 to FY25. You can see the quantities of each of the individual stickers sold and the revenue generated from those various types. And in the second to last set of columns, the quantity change and the percent change, you can see that we have had a general increase in the number of stickers sold. Despite the limitations and challenges that we have with respect to accessing the beach, we still, at least in this year, the trend has started to change where we are seeing an uptick in the number of stickers that we are selling.
Yeah, I was surprised the non-resident had the huge increase.
Exactly. So this
Well,
gem.
Still way down from historic.
Oh,
And you're
right.
gonna, yeah, you'll
Yeah.
see that in a second, but you're absolutely right. And so to that point, when we make decisions about these fees, we want to make sure, because we know that the largest revenue source is from our non-resident sales. And those non-resident sales, we want to make sure that we're not pricing people out of purchasing them. We want to make sure that we're still encouraging the experience because they are supporting the largest portion of our expenses.
And we still do prior to April 30th, the
Do.
discount.
Mhm.
That's good.
We do. I saw that and my inclination was to modify that, but this town is
Modify it to.
this town is steeped in tradition.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We only introduced that during.
It's been in place for quite some time. We took a
Oh.
look. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it was-
when we were worried about the sticker sales when the beach was closed. And we said, well, do a discount before June 1st and
I think
Yeah,
they
so-
stopped it for a couple of years, summer recently, but it's historically been a thing.
Well,
Okay.
so in thinking about it, right? So we allow this discount through April 30th. I will tell you unequivocally, the 2 months that generate the highest volume of sales, almost probably about 70% of our sticker sales happen in March and April.
Yeah.
And so my initial reaction was, do we eliminate the early payment discount? But it's an incentive for people to buy it, so we don't want to necessarily eliminate it. And if we shorten the window to just doing the month of March, it gives them a 1 month period to purchase it. Which we could contemplate, but making sure that we are protecting the ability to generate revenues, knowing that 70% of our stickers happen in March and April. There's an incentive for us to keep that in place.
right, because we go and we do the transfer station and the beach
Same time.
same time.
Yeah.
So
And
that's,
we're not offering a combo discount on two beach stickers and two.
no, but people, I mean, we do it online now, but it was always
Thank you.
come in and you.
I would approve doing it in March only, because that reduces the amount of nagging I'd get. Speech sticker, almost April 30th.
Yeah.
But we
Um,
should educate people to do it online. It's so much
You have
easier.
no idea how desperately I would like to have all of our transactions shifted.
Does the
We are
website,
trying to phase out cash, and especially, I'll get, Corey and I have been talking about this a lot lately, and especially with the elimination of pennies. And this is gonna become problematic for Corey's office. Because we're not allowed, we have to, when we collect fees, have to collect the exact amount, right? And so if you think about tax bills, motor excise bills, et cetera, they're often odd numbers. Or if it's even if it is an even numbered tax bill, if it's delinquent and we charge interest on it, that becomes an odd number. So we have to figure out a policy of how we are able to address this. And honestly, my perception is that the Department of Revenue is gonna need to promulgate something, giving us the ability to do that, because right now legally, we don't have the ability to do that, so.
Market basket yesterday, I never saw the signs before, saying because of the coin shortage, they're requesting, they can't make you, requesting that you use a credit card or exact change.
I would prefer to have non-cash transactions. I would prefer all of our
Although I will say
transactions to
that the
be.
portal is not good.
Correct. That was gonna be.
I have had so many problems with it in the last couple of years. You change one item and it deletes
Blows
everything you had
everything.
in there, it blows up. It's a very neat work.
Okay, fair enough.
The portal
Yeah.
is not good,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it's definitely, I still stuck with it to do it that way rather
Mhm.
than have to get stuff and go to the town hall.
Yes.
right?
That is our preferred method, so we will look at that. Thank you.
Yeah, the portals, and it would also. And I assume it's the provider is setting the fees for transactions,
Mhm.
so I mean,
50 cents.
well, it's 50 cents
No.
if you use a bank account.
It's
And then
it's more, it's a percent, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
way
total-
higher.
It
Yep,
depends on the processor.
yeah, and we see none of that. We don't set it, we
Yeah,
don't receive
yeah.
it, we don't touch it, yeah. All right, so I'm giving you upfront what the two options look like, and then we're gonna dive into those. So again, option 1 and option 2. And in this particular case, I did a 15% and a 30%. And I adjusted for rounding to make these whole numbers. So the same concept that we just went through a moment ago. All right, so here is a graphical representation of the beach surplus / deficit, historically speaking, and we're going to look at the numbers in just 1 second. You will see if in the earlier,
What are the expenses though? What are the expenses?
I'm going to get to it.
Okay.
So you'll see, starting at the left-hand side of the chart back in FY 17, 18, and 19, we were enjoying pretty healthy revenues being generated from the use of the beach and sales of our stickers. In 2020, it of course plummeted. It did pick back up in 21, but we have now seen a multi-year decline since then. And so we've been facing deficits for several years. 2018, in this sort of time period that we're looking at, 2018 was the high water mark, if you will, with respect to revenue generation. So,
Again, that's not all in.
correct, correct. Yep. Same thing. We're gonna be like broken records. Yep.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So here's what we're talking about.
Can
Vinny,
I
please.
interrupt for 1 sec on that last slide? What do you attribute the FY25 estimate from the FY25 actual? Why do you think the actual was so much higher than what the estimate was?
We had good weather this summer. I will tell you unequivocally, I was in the lobby on several different occasions when Corey's office had a line out the door. And I ran into some folks I knew and I asked them what, why they were purchasing the sticker back in June and July. And they said, because we want to capitalize on the great weather. And so there was definitely an uptick for a couple of different reasons. And the town has been working really hard to try to gain access using deterrents and all sorts of other mechanisms. And it's going to the beach is a great experience. So we like when we have that
A
trend.
couple of ways, it increases the demand, but it also means you don't have the forward nest getting washed out by storms and then re-nesting and delay the use of the beach again.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
When did, can you remind me when the rec department took over?
I will,
Okay.
it might be in here.
Perfect.
If not, I have this spreadsheet open. I can talk to you about it in a second. So these are generally speaking, the revenues and expenses summarized. We can turn that. You want to turn that?
I offered, he
Oh.
wants to
I can talk
be
loud.
dramatic.
So you can see that we started to see a transition in FY23 where our expenses have exceeded our revenues. Back in FY18, as I said, that was our high water mark at bringing in 1.87 million in revenues. And at the close of our last fiscal year, we brought in 1.06 million. So that is a reduction of, $870,000 in a very short time period. So that's what we're facing with respect to the beach. These are the individual revenue sources. So starting in FY24, we started to break out the different types of fees and the revenues generated. And that was a great thing that the town did. And so over the years, we will continue to build the history of that. Prior to that, you will see that it was all covered in one revenue line, and it was very difficult to delineate the different types.
I have it all if you really want.
Oh, yeah, Alex.
I don't need it. I'm good. But to answer your question, Alex, if you look at this chart, lower left-hand corner, you asked when the town moved this out of the other departments, Harbor Master and others, and it was in 2019, and they started to phase out in 2020. But I can give you the detail behind the spreadsheet there. Okay, so this is our revenue picture, and again, no, I didn't go beyond 27. Sorry, different chart. All right, so that was our high water mark. And here we are down 38% from 2018, and here we're down 28% from 2018. So that takes into account the uptick that we saw in FY25 actuals, which is what Karen was just asking about. And here is a couple of different ways to look at the revenues graphically and see the trends. The column chart on the left is all revenue sources across all permit types. The line chart on the upper right is a revenue chart showing the different types of stickers, resident, non-resident, and senior. And as we talked about before, the non-resident is bringing in the bulk of the lion's share of the revenue for those permits. All right, so we're now going to look at expenses. And before I show you the expenses, I want to let you know what it includes. It will include the annual cost of the lease with DVR for us to lease the property. It includes staffing costs of beach lifeguards. So the total cost, 100% of the cost of the lifeguard department is included in this profile. 100% of the cost of beach operations, our rangers, is included in this profile. 15% of the cost of the treasure collector staff and 9% of their total expenses is included in this profile. And 15% of the rec director and the rec administrative assistant She helps to handle all of the scheduling of all the beach rangers, and a couple of other things during the summer. So that is what I'm including in the total expense profile. But I am excluding all of the items that are listed at the bottom of the next page, which is things we just talked about: capital improvements, employee benefits, fuel usage for the vehicles that are traveling up and down the beach. Oh, and clearly I have, oh, no, that's right.
Dollar budget request,
I'm sorry.
a $5 billion budget.
No,
request.
5B, which is the override budget. It's also, it's also not including the cost of trash removal and DPW staff for all of the services that they provide at the beach. They do a lot of equipment placement removal. They do road resurfacing to deal with potholes. They go over twice a week, sometimes maybe even more than that, to remove the trash and bring it to the transfer station. And then, of course, the cost of us hauling all that trash away and disposing of it. None of those expenses are built into this empirical model that we're looking at. But these are the categories of our expenses in order to operate the cost of the beach. In the 5B budget, the override budget, there is a request for additional staff at the beach in the form of an assistant beach director, so that the existing beach director who works about 90+ hours a week in the summer, that we don't burn this person out. So that has been discussed at length
One
with.
FTE roughly.
Correct. So we put those two together. This is the trend line for our
That's a quick
expenses.
question. Why wouldn't the beach ops expense budget have some line in for fuel? Like for their vehicles?
Right.
I understand
to
like the
look at it.
DPW.
I'm not gonna save some
DPW doesn't.
Definitely, I understand that piece, but I would think
The
that.
departments,
Yeah.
the departments have vehicle lines,
Yeah.
but all the other supporting departments who provide services like
Yeah.
DPW
Yeah.
who's there,
Don't, yeah,
it's,
totally get that.
yep, not included.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's the breakdown of the revenues and expenses. So now if we look at the two options for, price modifications. Again, option one is using a target of a 15% increase with those roundings that we talked about. Option two is using a general 30% increase. And so this is what we are projecting for additional or incremental revenue in those two options. For quantities, I'm using the average quantity between FY24 and FY25, the last 2 fiscal years that we have completed. And so if we use option one, no, this is in my way, I can't see. At the bottom in green, you'll see that this projection would generate approximately $190,000 in additional revenue. And option two would generate an approximate $367,000. There is a 9.2% decline in sales volume assumed in these projections.
Sorry, what was that? Percentage?
Lower right-hand corner, 9.2.
Got it.
Okay. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Option two still projects a shortfall in FY26 and close to a break even in FY27.
So it does, Vinny, and the way I will respond to that is, again, as Karen highlighted a moment ago, we saw an uptick in FY25 that we were not anticipating. We were anticipating, because we had a multi-year decline in the revenue and the sales volume, we were anticipating that 25 was not going to be as strong as what we saw. But it was. And so FY26, that year's already been budgeted for. And so that projected decline was based on the historical 23 and 24 decline. So it assumed a decline. That budget's already been adopted, so I can't modify that. So it may not happen. And especially again, with all of the efforts that we are trying to do to gain access to the property, we're hoping that that will provide folks the opportunity to purchase stickers and get out there. And that will do it for me, so. Any questions?
I guess I don't have a question, but a comment. I could comment for hours on this. I just like to say that the town beach director is a town treasure, and a lot of these revenues that we're seeing, the increased revenues, is directly related to him. He's part-time bird biologist, part-time police officer, part-time a psychologist. I mean, it's unbelievable what he does, and I think really we owe it to him to get that assistant for short money, so we don't lose him. Because if we do lose him, we're going to go back to this. We're going to go back to declining revenues again. So that's just my comment. So
Appreciate you sharing those sentiments.
yeah. So,
He is definitely a gem.
Your recommendation is option 2.
So well, from a fiduciary perspective, my recommendation is option 2. I wanted to give you guys 2 options because I want to be sensitive to the fact that this is a discretionary item, and we want to make sure that we're not jeopardizing our sales volume by having increases that are greater than people's discretionary desire to buy these stickers.
So if you promise that we're gonna increase these, because from, say, going from 210 to 240 doesn't sound that bad, or like for me, it'd be 105 to 120. If it's 105 to 135, it still doesn't.
But to go for, so remember that our non-resident, right, is currently at 330, excuse me, or 350.
Yeah.
That would go all the way up to 450 under
Right.
the second option. We know that that's generating the largest share of our revenue. We want to make sure that those folks are still buying those stickers. And so we want to be sensitive to making sure that we're not pricing people out.
But then again, the residents are paying the overall taxes to support the beach too.
Mhm,
So they're paying this fee, but also paying their taxes.
mhm.
So,
So that's why I gave you guys 2 options for you guys to discuss and see what your recommendation is.
Well, we can eliminate option 2 by saying, I move that we adopt option 2. There's a second.
I'll second that.
I don't get to vote.
So motion seconded for option 2. Any further discussion?
my one other point I would like to make is that there is we should think about this in the future about the consultant that's currently being used on beach access, maybe hiring him from the town. Right now, the nonprofits are paying for that consultant. The town's using or relying on them for a lot of opinions on this beach access. So it might behoove the town in the future to hire that person as a consultant, because it certainly is gaining access. So
yeah.
There's another viewpoint that the bridge may actually be closed in
Exactly. That's why I asked Sheila to stay. Yes.
I think the assumption was the engineering would be done in fiscal year 26 and construction start in fiscal year 27. So with that closure, there should be probably much lower fees, much lower demand.
There is
They
going
have
to be.
Move the gate, be up and on the.
There's gonna be a significant impact when we get to that point.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when or if that point comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Well, they can still get to the beach. You would just have to move they have the gate coming from the north.
Yeah.
From Blakeman's.
Yeah, they have a
There's no
small.
residents, it's getting off the different exit off the highway.
Mhm.
I've always been amazed at people that the band is still there, given that it's closed the entire summer. They get a parking, they get access to the park.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed that people still spend that kind of money for pre-Memorial Day, post Labor Day access.
crazy, but they do.
Well,
Was there a discussion about changing the ratio of the parking versus over sand?
Changing the ratio?
Well, the
What do you
parking
mean?
lot cost X and over sand costs X plus. What, 50%, whatever these.
I didn't take any of that into
I
consideration.
don't think we strict the parking lot access, so, oh, please.
Yeah,
It's resident.
Was-
What do you-
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yeah. And if you look at the historic percentages, at least on the town resident lot and over sands, it's something to the effect of like 6%. If you allocate out the number of spots we have in the parking lot and the 500 spots that are out on the beach, it's something like 7% of sticker holders can use it at any one point in time.
right.
All right, we have a
What's your
motion and a
pleasure?
second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 800.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Excellent work, Mary.
Yes, thank you. Can, Marion, I assume you'll email me these so we can, all the presentations, beach and.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect.
did around 5:30.
Oh, got it.
Still like me.
Yeah, I think we have a set of minutes that we can approve.
Yeah, that's amazingly AI. I thought there was only one typo and it might be the way I talk. Instead of fuel, it said field, but.
Did you guys use AI for your minutes?
The last one. Yeah.
So there was one thing that, I'll just share this real quickly. There was one thing that somebody had, mentioned is, and I think Linda had tried it for one of, the finance meetings. It didn't always pick up and know who was speaking.
Yeah.
And so it says like member or
Yeah.
attendee or something generic. And so we were toying with the idea, and although logistically this may feel a little strange at the beginning of every meeting, just going around and saying your name.
Oh,
So that AI picks up your voice and then could
Really?
be able to
It
clarify.
does that too?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it picked up Karen.
Oh, sure.
Treated like it's a AA meeting. So,
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Frank.
Exactly. So if you're running into that, you may wanna,
Here,
just
talk about
as a matter of
this.
routine. So there's that.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you,
have
guys.
two sets of meeting minutes we can approve, the November 19th. The ones Beth sent around. And then. I think so, I think she sent them to everyone. Let me just double check.
Okay, I don't remember, so maybe I.
Did anyone else get them from Beth?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'll make sure everyone has those 19th minutes. And yes, the December 3rd that Andrew sent around.
The AI one, yeah.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work on that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It was further down and it talked about. It should be viewed. Oh, yeah. So the last section, committee discusses strategic planning. And it says key topics, including the need to evaluate whether to remain in the field business or pursue a different path. And I believe that should say fuel.
Yeah.
There's another one that seemed a little funky, but I. So I move to approve the minutes of December 3rd with the correction noted.
Perfect. A second,
Second.
all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 800. Perfect.
So Andrew, just forward those to Susan Kelly
Sure.
once they're approved.
Yeah. I'll make
Okay,
that
so-
change too.
Next meeting is next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday at the
Back to the
senior
senior
center,
center.
back at the senior center, yeah. Yep, so we'll, think we have, let me just double check.
Sewer,
Water and sewer, and then, we'll start to prioritize, and we have Jeannie.
I'm gonna hold out hope that we will have free cash and retained earnings certified by then.
Perfect.
It's been radio silence from the state for the last couple of days. We've given them everything they've asked for. So we're in a holding pattern.
okay.
Yeah, there's an updated agenda I'll send out, but it's, water and sewer, just double check. Capital request prioritization and an HR system discussion.
Feel like. Sorry.
HR system water and sewer, HR systems discussion and capital request prioritization. So we'll start that.
Jeannie Horn's doing the HR.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Motion to adjourn.
yes, please, thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.